Off-page SEO, I'm sorry, that includes your domain name, title tag, meta description. Again, I'll get into all this. I know this is probably over your heads right now. Keywords, images with alt tags, analytics, content. So after you've laid your foundation, now you're ready to start building your structure. So it's important that when you build your website, now you got to drive the visitors to your website, and that's all part of the SEO. So what is SEO? Well, SEO, or search engine optimization, is the term that refers to the things that you do to improve your website's visibility in the search engines. So I will get into more about how to do SEO properly. The techniques focus on increasing organic or natural traffic that you receive based on the ranking within the search engines. So organic searches are you type into Google what you're looking for, and those results pop up on the left side of the page. Okay, that's going to be your organic searches. Paid searches are going to be on the right-hand side where you see the ads. So people are paying for those ads every time somebody clicks on that. So how do you improve your SEO? So there's two basic components. There's on-page SEO and there's off-page SEO. You need both of these components in place to get the best results. Your foundation and your structure, or your website and your SEO, work together. So on-page SEO is just what it implies, anything that is on your website that can be improved upon for optimum search engine ranking. So the search engines combine a number of items on your website, including, and this is going back to the whole thing, the list that I showed you a little bit ago, which I'll get into. And just so you know, if I'm going too fast, I'm just trying to get through the material. I can email you guys this presentation if that would be helpful. Just let me know. So your domain name. Now, age is an important factor with a website. Okay? The older the website, typically the better SEO. The easier it's going to be typically for you to rank. A brand new website, Google doesn't know what it is, or the search engines don't know what's about the entire website. So a brand new site with a new domain is going to take more time, and it's a little more difficult to rank because it doesn't have the reputation out there. I recently sold a website that was about 1.5 years old. It wasn't generating a lot of traffic, but it sold for a lot more than it was actually earning, primarily because of the age of the domain. So age actually is a big factor. It's kind of like wine. You know, the older the vine, the finer the wine. Kind of the same principle here with domains. When purchasing, you should try to register more than just 1 year. Google will look at that and say, okay, well, this person plans on being around for a while, not just this. Kind of like look at it as a tenant. You know, you would rather have a year tenant than a month-to-month. Kind of the same thing with a website. Having your keyword in your domain helps. It's not critical. So having, let's say your target keyword is Santa Barbara real estate. If you can get that domain, it's already taken, obviously. But if you can have your main keyword in your domain, whether it has real estate in there or something, that always helps. Helps because the search engines will look at that, and also has a better idea as far as what your website is about. The search engines are all about user experience. If someone does a search in the search engines and they go to a website that is not relevant, it's bad user experience, Google tries to eliminate those websites. So the more relevant your content is for your website, the better. And Google is smart enough to know. So on-page SEO, the title. The title bar on your website should include one of your keyword phrases. I will show you a sample at the bottom here. Keywords should be to the left, not your business name. Each page of your website should have a different title. This happens naturally with WordPress, which is really nice. When you're creating a new page, you type in the title, it'll automatically transfer that title up to your URL. Okay? There are some additional adjustments you need to make in the back end of WordPress, which is called your permalinks. But it's very simple and it's automatic. So it's nothing that you need to concern yourself with. Title should be less than 70 characters. And this is with my website. So I have Santa Barbara Web Design, SEO, and then I have my company name after that. So that gives you a little idea of what I'm talking about. That's right up at the top of your browser bar. Each page should have a separate description. Include keyword phrases in your description. Make your descriptions enticing to the reader, and the reason being is it should be 160 characters, is this is what they're reading. So you want to make sure that if you are searching for, I think I searched for Santa Barbara restaurants, and as you can see here, it bolds the keywords. So it's important that you have in your description your main keyword somewhere in there, because if you have it as your title, as well as in your description, when somebody goes and types in that keyword phrase, do you think Google might say, hey, I think this is relevant to the keyword that somebody's trying to type, what they're looking for? So it's relevancy. All right, so this also helps with your own page. Keywords. Choose the appropriate keywords for your website. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use different keywords on different pages. Don't put real estate investor as one page and then create another page as real estate investor 2 or anything. And actually you can't, WordPress is actually smart enough that you can't create 2 of the exact same titles. It'll actually put a number after it. So it'll say real estate investor and then real estate investor 1, real estate investor 2. You want to switch it up. Images. Search engines can't read images. All they see is code. So it doesn't know what your images are about. So you have to kind of help them along. Let them know exactly what that image is about. And it's using alt tags or alt text. So as you can see here, this is actually this is on Facebook. But I have this image as one of my blog entries, which I have a handout for you guys about Facebook. But it's kind of hard to see here, but this is the alt text. And what I have here is a Facebook timeline. It's the new changes that are happening with all the Facebook business pages on March 30th. They're switching over to the new Facebook timeline. I'll get into that in a little bit. But this is what's nice about WordPress is that, see all this code down here? This is HTML code. You don't have to worry about that with WordPress. Right here, see where it says alt equals Facebook timeline? That is letting Google know, okay, well this image is about the Facebook timeline. So it kind of gets an idea as far as what the image is about. It helps with your SEO. So it's important that you use your alt text, and this is done in WordPress. Very simple to do. Analytics. You need to pay attention to your bounce rate. And what bounce rate is, there's different levels of bounce rate. I've seen it talked about different ways. If you use Google Analytics, it's basically that when somebody visits a page, if they don't go to another page and they leave, that's a bounce. That means that what it tells Google is that the content's not relevant. They weren't interested in your content. So if they arrived off of a specific keyword and they go there and they're only there on one page and they leave, Google's thinking, well, it's not relevant, so maybe we're going to lower their ranking for that keyword. Okay? So it's important that you pay attention to your bounce rate. Another way of looking at it, which some of the different analytics programs, one that I've used is Clicky. I don't use it anymore just because there's a cost associated with it. They base bounce rate off of the amount of time you're on your website. So if you're on if somebody's on your website for 30 seconds or less and they leave, that's a bounce. As long as they're there more than 30 seconds, then it doesn't affect your bounce rate. A high bounce rate will indicate to Google that your visitors do not find your content relevant, and the rankings will drop. Google Analytics is a must. I've gone back to Google Analytics. I didn't use it for probably about a year, but they've made a lot of recent changes over the last few months. They now have real-time statistics. You can actually go in, it's in beta, but you can actually go in and see where your visitors are at that exact moment that you're looking at it. So if your visitor comes in, it's going to pop up into analytics. You're going to know how much time. There's actually a chart it's a moving chart that shows you the interaction on your website. When it jumps over to another page, what's it doing on that page? You can gain a lot of information as far as what your visitors are doing on your website. And you don't need to get too technical with that, but it's important that you understand how Google Analytics works, because you can tweak things in your website to convert your visitors better. Give them what they're after. Content, yes, content is king. Okay, very important that you have content. The search engines reward frequent and relevant content. I touched on this earlier. I'm not going to get too much into the whole Panda update. Maybe some of you, Dan?
I just got a question on content. I came across a program a while back that would actually look at your content and analyze it and give you suggestions and do all kinds of things that looked really fantastic. And then I lost the link in the site and I don't know what happened. Do you use any of those types of programs that automatically go through and give you feedback on the content?
Sure. There's a plugin that I use. It's called SEO Presser.
Okay.
It is a paid plugin that basically, like these guys were talking about plugins, there's thousands of plugins to customize your website. And what it does is it'll read the content on your website or on a page, on a given page or a post. It'll give you a score. How well is your on-page SEO, not your off-page, if this is what you're asking. It's your on-page SEO. And it will give you a score and what you need to do to improve on that score. Because there's different heading tags like H1, H2, H3, having those heading tags in there, and alt tags if you have images and stuff like that. Is that?
Yeah.
So SEO Presser.
SEO Presser.
That's what I use. There are, I believe, I have to look. If you send me an email or remind me, I'll look. I believe there's a free version that somebody pointed me towards, but I haven't tested it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but plugins. I have trouble with plugins.
What they are?
Do? What are they? What do they do?
Sure.
I've got them on my computer, but I'm not really sure about.
Well, plugins can. Plugins are. When you first build a website, it's very plain, okay? And plugins help increase the functionality of your website. Maybe it's part of the design. Like a plugin, for example, might be, let's say you have Aweber, all right? Well, there's a plugin for Aweber that instead of getting into all the code, of entering all the code for the Aweber, you know the Aweber code, or opt-in autoresponder codes, if you guys are familiar with autoresponders. So having a plugin, all you have to do is just enter in, I think it's the Java code, into the box, hit save, and it pulls the data from Aweber, and now you got your form on your website. That would be a plugin.
Most plugins are Java.
No, the Java. You can also use HTML from Aweber. I don't want to confuse or anything, but Plugins are just, yeah, Dan?
Couldn't you say even something like maybe a more sophisticated thesaurus or spell checker could be a plugin?
Sure.
Okay.
I like to say you have an iPhone, all those different apps, those are like plugins. That you add,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
different
Yeah, that's a good
things
example.
to your web.
Sure. Another one is for Google Analytics, for example. There's a plugin for analytics. There's, oh geez,
You're adding functionality to your, to whatever application.
exactly. I've never been, it's such a, to me, it's such a simple thing, but it's complex for me to explain it. But these guys,
That's why
yeah, it just helps with the functionality of your website. It makes it easier for you to improve your website instead of getting into all the code, okay? Which I don't like. I don't like to get into the code too much. Let's see. The bulk of off-page SEO comes from building backlinks. Okay, so now we're jumping over to off-page SEO. So we have on-page, which is everything that you do on your website. Now we're jumping over to off-page SEO. A bulk of off-page SEO comes from backlinks. The more backlinks, typically, just in a general sense, the more backlinks you can get to your website towards a specific keyword that you're trying to target, it helps your rankings. But backlinks are not all treated equally, though.
And would you explain backlinks?
Yeah. So not all backlinks are equal. Some of the better backlinks out there are .edus, because you can't get .edu website. You can't just go over to, say, GoDaddy and say, I want a .edu domain. You're not going to get it. Okay, same with a .gov. Okay, so these, now you can get a .org. I have .orgs. So not as much weight with the .orgs as the .edus and the .govs. So Google and the search engines weigh more on links that come from .edus and .gov, because we don't have control over those websites. You know, educational, just so you know, those are educational websites and governmental websites, just so you know, the .edu. So they carry more weight. So if you can get those kind of backlinks to your website, it's going to help your rankings better. Sites with a higher page rank or PR also carry more weight. Page rank is just basically that it's a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being, or actually 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. It really comes down to the authority of the website. So if you're just building a brand new website, you may have PR nothing, okay, because there's no authority to it. As you build content, just like I was explaining the importance of having a blog, the content helps with the authority. The bigger your website becomes, the more traffic you're generating to your website, the higher your PR typically goes. So if you can get backlinks from higher PR websites, I look at a